everybody, welcome.
Hello.
I'm Alvin Murtishi with MassLive.
Luke Vaillancourt with Mass Foodies.
And we are
eating tacos.
And I had a fajita. Someone ordered me a fajita and also this huge margarita, which I'm now realizing is totally in the way of the video.
Never in the way.
Are we good over here?
I think we're good.
Okay. So, for everybody joining, we're at, please pronounce it.
Plaza Azteca.
Because I'm going to butcher it.
That's right.
And we're having a dinner with about 21 other foodies in central Massachusetts.
Yep, it's actually the Worcester Foodies group, which is part of the Mass Foodies. We have about 30 people that like to go out to eat once a month. And this month, in honor of Taco Tuesday, we figured that it would be a good spot to kind of celebrate in style. So. And
I had some of you order for me, so for the person who ordered me the steak fajita, I'm going to flip the camera and just show you what I got. So, overall, Luke, stay away.
Uh-oh.
Overall, this looks really good. And I haven't tried it yet, but thank you so much for the suggestion. And it also came with these sides and a couple of tortillas. So I'm really excited to dig into that. Luke, tell us what you got.
Yeah, so it was a dealer's choice. I had the waitress choose for me, so she had a nice taco, in honor of Taco Tuesday. So it's a beef taco with some nice adornments there.
Awesome.
Now, I will say, full disclosure, I may be the publisher of Mass Foodies, but I am not a foodie. I know nothing about food. All I know is I like to eat. So, as you can tell, I'm a hungry guy. So.
And I know food so little that I had you guys order for me, and you did a great job. So, thank you so much.
Well, I don't know. You haven't had it yet, right?
Yes, that's true. So, let's take a bite of this. I feel so bad about this camera angle. But if we move in, I think we'll be okay.
That works. There's no Lady in the Tramp style here.
Yeah. So. Okay. What's the way I approach this? I'm gonna put stuff in my tortilla, I assume.
I think you just load it up.
Yeah. And you're not just gonna watch us eat. We're also gonna, after we try our food a little bit, we're gonna talk a little bit about the Worcester dining renaissance and how Mass Foodies, you guys have been doing a great job of covering all the great openings and really going deep dive into what makes eating in Worcester special. And we're just going to talk about, well, exactly that, what makes eating in Worcester special.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing if you think about it, because it's really evolved over the past, especially 10, 15 years. With the restaurants coming in, the diversity of the foods. Obviously, you have everything from Afghani to Mexican to, some of them, the safe Italian. You have Ghanaian. That's right. So it's pretty amazing to see the cultural melting pot, around food. And Worcester is obviously isn't shy to diversity, and I think that it's representing, it's the good populace. So
yeah. And we've also seen a couple of interesting sort of centralizations of that food, of that dining renaissance, right? So Shrewsbury Street,
which was always the Italian, it was the old neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it's kind of evolved. It's still that central, neighborhood feel, the Italian feel, but it's kind of evolved into, being a little more progressive as well, so which is interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then, of course, you have downtown, which right now is really going through that renaissance that Alban was talking about, and you see a lot of interesting things happening. It's funny. You have a lot of the staples. You have the Via, the Chop House, the places that have been around forever. And I really credit this movement to the old Block 5, which was out in the Canal District. That was really the first restaurant to kind of make an experience and really try to figure out the food culture.
Yeah.
And it's kind of evolved since that. So it's interesting to see how that evolution has really taken root. It's because of that risk, it's allowed restaurants to take a risk and introduce new food. So
yeah. Well, one interesting development that I saw recently was the move of Coomerspec to Water Street. And for those of you that don't know, Coomerspec just kind of announced that they're moving into 118 Water Street. Everything's great. Thank you.
Good.
We're okay. Awesome. So Kummersbeck, they're like a half butcher and then half like classical eatery. What's really interesting during my interview with the Mahonies who are moving in there is they said they were like, we could have moved into Boston, we could have done this in Boston, but we'd rather do it in Worcester because it's cheaper and there's demand. There's nothing like this here. And I've been in Worcester for just a couple of months, but I imagine from what people tell me, a couple of years ago, that was never the mentality. That you'd move to Worcester and not Boston.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's funny because, like, that whole butcher concept, it's a very Brooklyn idea. You know, and 5 years ago, you would never even consider that in Worcester. And I think what's really fascinating is the fact that they really are looking at, from a historical standpoint, you know, that whole area, the Canal District area there, you know, has, you know, a great history of butchers, a great history of really that type of style and food. And over the years, we've lost some of the small restaurants there, and it's really kind of come full circle now. You know, it's what used to be a necessity is now a trend, and I think that's really you know, going to cast some light on the future of growth. What's interesting too is the connection between places like Armsby Abbey and you know, how they've kind of, you know, taken that concept and kind of, you know, gone with it too. So which is fun.
What are some spots that you think that sort of dining renaissance is going to move into?
Honestly, it's going to go wherever it can. You know, the Canal District right now is really posed for growth. I think everything that's happening downtown in terms of the business development, all of that is really going to help grow as well. Obviously, you know, Cliff Rucker with the ice hockey rink. You know, that's going to really, you know, be an anchor in the area. You're going to have the new niche restaurant going in there, which is a block away from Bocado, and you've got all these great things happening. So it's interesting to see what's going to really catch and grow. And, you know, is the dynamic going to, you know, shape, you know, by changes like that. So.
Yeah, can we just talk about how Mike Covino, which is a name that, you know, not everybody may know, but if you've eaten in Worcester, there's like a 1 in 10 chance you've eaten at one of his restaurants.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you've talked to Mike Covino a couple times. Well, actually, probably more than a couple times. So he talked a little bit about, you know, why he's decided to make such a great investment here. In your conversation, what you've heard him say about why Worcester is a great place to open a restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously can't speak for him, but from my perspective, you know, Worcester is such, you know, there's energy behind it. You know, the city itself is finally putting in some infrastructure, is finally putting in some investments into, you know, the physical living in the area. You have, you know, new apartments going up, you have residential, you have all the colleges coming together. And I think that anyone that's looking at creating a restaurant is really going to need to go where the populace is. And Worcester really is, you know, posed for that growth. So is it in the next 5 years? I don't know. Is it in a year? Is it 10 years? I don't know. But I think that it's definitely smart to look at Worcester. You know, it's the second largest city in New England. You know, it's got a lot going on. So
yeah, what are some elements that you would like to see? I'm not saying you're a master city planner or a master restaurateur, but just as somebody who likes to eat, what are some things that are missing in Worcester in terms of dining that you might like to see?
You know, I would say the dining scene is really strong, what it is now. I think what's tough is the fact that, you know, Worcester isn't necessarily a walkable city in terms of getting from neighborhood to neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You know, it's if you go to Boston, you go to Providence, you go to any of the small big cities, you know, you can really do a bar crawl, you know, from restaurant to restaurant. You know, you can go here and there and eat different things. And yes, you know, you have the different pockets of the city, the downtown, Park Ave, you know, Canal District, you know, Shrewsbury Street. But it's tough to kind of, you know, easily and successfully get to each of the spots, and they really do a glorified bar hop. So,
yeah, I think Shrewsbury Street represents that like really well. Where there's a lot of great places you could go, but because of those 2 one-ways, it's like you go to Shrewsbury Street, maybe you go to one other place, and then you go home.
Yeah.
And we're still not at that point with the Canal District sort of getting there, but you know, where you can actually walk around the city at night, going to different places, finding new places.
I mean, my wife and I, we always would love, you know, going, you know, get an appetizer at one place, you know, walking down, getting a drink someplace, going down, get dinner another place, and then, you know, dessert. You know, make it a whole trifecta of different experiences and different foods and different, you know, cultures and styles and stuff. And we still do that, but it's, you know, it's not as easy as it should be.
Yeah.
You know, for any city that's growing, definitely needs that.
Now, most importantly, how's your food?
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's good. as I say, with the mouth full.
Yeah. Well, I'm struggling because the pressure of having people watch me eat is also making me like not want to devour this entirely, but this is really good.
Yeah.
And I wish I could just like cut into this right now because it is delicious. Yeah, I mean, I guess where do you see things continuing as expected for like the next couple of years? Just restaurants opening up, restaurants opening up, restaurants opening up.
It's Worcester had about 30 different restaurants over the past 3 to 4 years open, and obviously when one opens, another's going to close. So it's kind of maintaining that balance. I think last time I checked, there was 165 independent restaurants in Worcester proper, from small to non-chain. But I think that momentum and growth is there. A lot of the food scene isn't just about people going out to eat. A lot of it is that kind of that social culture that you get from watching it on television, by watching what's going on environmentally in terms of entertainment. So it's definitely has something that the momentum that's going for it. One of the discussions is it's a big bubble that's about to burst. Yeah, I mean, it definitely anything that is going to grow at the rate that it has, without the sustainability of consumers and residents and all that, that's going to happen. But I think Worcester is kind of a long way from that. Certainly places like Brooklyn, Midtown, New York City, things like that, you're going to see that. And you're going to see it quickly because of rent, because of the population density and all that. But I think Worcester, we're safe for a few years. So.
And I think what's most interesting is everyone in Worcester, including the restaurant owners, in my conversations with them, they're not... I mean, they're competing with each other, but whenever one moves into a neighborhood where all the restaurant owners are cognizant of the fact that they're trying to move things forward, they're always like, yeah, we heard someone's moving in, and we went over and said hi, and blah, 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 and then it's sort of like everyone understands that, what could be, and it's almost like they're all working together, non-competitively, to make sure that happens, to make sure that the Canal District or Shrewsbury Street or downtown becomes a location.
Yeah, definitely.
Not
because
just
if one of them succeeds, all of them are going to succeed. And even if it's from the standpoint of you're on an hour wait, you're going to go next door. So you want to be friendly and all that. I think the most telling thing about that for the success story is the fact that chefs are able to really experiment and do different things. And a lot of them work together. A lot of them are trying different techniques. A lot of them are really trying to figure out, what's that magic formula. And they're adapting it too. If you have Dead Horse Hill, if you have Jared Foreman over there doing something different, you may have another chef then try it, improve on it, or maybe even, try something different. So it is kind of, the masters teaching, the masters in terms of trying different things. So,
I guess if we want to close this up, because I'm sure as exciting it is to watch us eat dinner.
Really exciting.
We do want eventually just want to eat and not talk to each other. No, but well, first of all, when's the next time that the Foodies are going to get together?
Yeah, so the Worcester Foodies group, it's a group of 30 people. We meet monthly. It depends on the restaurant. We sometimes the restaurant can only accommodate up to 15, 20 people. Sometimes, like in a case like this where we have 21 people, we're able to do more. So we do it monthly. We've done it for about 6 years now. So we've eaten a lot of food in a lot of different restaurants. So next month we're not sure where we're going at. We usually decide about a week ahead of time. And, we try to have a good time with it. We try to do different things. And, we have 2 goals. And one of it is to promote restaurants and support restaurants. So we go to a restaurant, we'll do a nice little review on Mass Foodies. We'll take some pictures. We'll, work with some talents like you and MassLive and see what we can do to help promote, the Worcester food culture and the food scene. So.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
And have a nice dinner.
Mange.